Good day! The macro skill focus of this video is listening comprehension. This video is about analytical listening and problem solving. At the end of this video, you should be able to employ analytical listening in problem solving. Analytical skills refer to the ability to collect and analyze information, problem solve, and make decisions. One who possesses these strengths can help solve any problems that one may encounter, may it be personal or work-related problems, to improve its productivity and success. Analytical skills might sound technical, but we use these skills in everyday work. Some analytical skills that we need to develop are the following. Communication. This is how we give and or receive information. Having strong analytical skills means nothing if you cannot share your analyses with others. The second analytical skill that we need to develop is creativity. This is using imagination or original ideas to analyze information. Often, analyzing information requires a creative eye to spot trends in the data that others may not find. Creativity is also important when it comes to problem solving. The obvious solution is not always the best option. It needs to think beyond the box in order to solve big problems. The third skill is critical thinking. It refers to evaluating information and then making a decision based on your findings. Critical thinking is what helps an individual make decisions that help solve the problems. These skills are important in solving problems, and we adopt these skills when we do analytical listening. Analytical listening offers fast and simple way to feedback. People use this listening skill when they want to critically evaluate the message or need to extract some information or require to highlight the content. Now, let's discuss the different uses of analytical listening. First is for critical listening. When the listener requires specific information from the entire speech, or an external speaker is invited to share the message, one has to critically analyze the content in order to make best use of it. Therefore, the task is to actively scrutinize the reliability, clarity, and accuracy of that particular information only. For example, when a salesperson describes about his company's product and only discusses its benefits, or might deliver positive feelings of that product and at the same time try to associate negative feelings with what the other competitor has to offer, at this point, the listener should be cautious and need not to take decisions on the basis of immediate feelings, but rather take time before concluding or before taking any actions. One needs to analyze and evaluate the message in order to determine whether to accept or reject it. Second use is comprehensive listening. This involves understanding of the complete substance conveyed by the speaker. The problem is that many people often interpret the same conversation in different ways depending on their individual and social backgrounds. The value of this type of listening is that the listener needs to remember the matter. It is useful when the purpose is to extract information from the speaker. Mostly, this skill is used in classrooms by students and even at the workplace when we listen to understand new practices or procedures for better performance. In order to properly use comprehensive listening and to gain understanding, the listener first needs suitable vocabulary and language proficiency. Using overly difficult language or technical terminology, therefore, can be a barrier to comprehensive listening. The ultimate goal of comprehensive listening is to understand the message the speaker is communicating. Third is content listening. It describes a situation when one has to pay attention to the content for receiving some information like highlights of your organization or learning some technical or creative aspects. While getting information, it would not be a good on the listener's part to challenge the speaker. The focus in this type of listening should be on gathering information rather than making judgment. Taking notes and asking questions is important to make the listening interactive. Since you now know the different uses of analytical listening, it is also important to know the sequential process of effective analytical listening. It has 5 stages: the receiving stage, understanding stage, evaluating stage, responding stage, and remembering stage. The first stage is the receiving stage. This refers to the actual listening process, or just mere hearing of the sounds. The second stage in the listening process is the understanding stage. Understanding or comprehension is shared meaning between parties in a communication transaction and constitutes the first step in the listening process. This is the stage during which the listener determines the context and meanings of the words he or she hears. Determining the context and meaning of individual words as well as assigning meaning and language is essential to understanding sentences. This in turn is essential to understanding a speaker's message. During the evaluating stage, the listener determines whether or not the information they heard and understood from the speaker is well constructed or disorganized, biased or unbiased, true or false, significant or insignificant. They also ascertain how and why the speaker has come up with and conveyed the message that they delivered. This may involve considerations of a speaker's personal or professional motivations and goals. The responding stage is the stage of the listening process in which the listener provides verbal and/or non-verbal reactions. A listener can respond to what they hear either verbally or non-verbally. Non-verbal signals can include gestures such as nodding, making eye contact, tapping a pen, fidgeting, scratching, or cocking the head, smiling, rolling their eyes, grimacing, or any other body language. These kinds of responses can be displayed purposefully or involuntarily. Responding verbally might involve asking a question, requesting additional information, redirecting or changing the focus of a conversation, cutting off a speaker, or repeating what the speaker has said back to her in order to verify that the received message matches the intended message. The remembering stage is the last stage of the listening process in which the listener retains the information gathered from the speaker to integrate it in real life. This process is very important to understand as it gives you an idea how one processes information. Aside from processing information, analytical listening also helps us solve problems. Here are the steps in solving a problem according to American Society for Quality. The first step is to define the problem. Diagnose the situation so that your focus is on the problem, not just its symptoms. Helpful problem-solving techniques include using flowcharts to identify the expected steps of a process and cause and effect diagrams to define and analyze root causes. Second step is to generate alternative solutions. Postpone the selection of one solution until several problem-solving alternatives have been proposed. Considering multiple alternatives can significantly enhance the value of your ideal solution. Once you have decided on the what should be model, this target standard becomes the basis for developing a roadmap for investigating alternatives. Brainstorming and team problem-solving techniques are both useful tools in this stage of problem-solving. Third step is to evaluate and select an alternative. Skilled problem solvers use a series of considerations when selecting the best alternative. They consider the extent to which a particular alternative will solve the problem without causing other unanticipated problems, or all the individuals involved will accept the alternative, implementation of the alternative is likely, and the alternative fits within the organizational constraints. Finally, implement and follow up on the solution. This is facilitating the implementation with the help of others. Regardless of how the solution is rolled out, feedback channels should be built into the implementation. This allows for continuous monitoring and testing of actual events against expectations. Problem solving and the techniques used to gain clarity are most effective if the solution remains in place and is updated to respond to future changes. That is it for this video. Hope you can now employ analytical listening in problem solving. Thank you for watching.